Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to this episode of Happiness After Codependency. I'm Marshall Bircher. I'm your guide back to knowing, loving, and living who you are post codependency, post narcissistic abuse. I'm excited to have you here. Before we get started with today's episode, which is episode 2 of the nature of healing, today we're talking about the comfort zone, safety, and what setbacks really are. This episode is actually largely visual, so if you're listening to this on the podcast, I recommend checking out the presentation on YouTube or on my Facebook page, which is Free the Self. You can just Google healing after, or you can Google Free the Self and it'll take you right to it on Facebook, and Happiness After Codependency on YouTube. One day I'll get Facebook to change that name to Happiness After Codependency, and that will be universal. So also, I want to invite you to join the community. The community is your safe haven here on the internet, where you can come to find support, tools, and guidance in your journey back to yourself, and actually come to discover that you're sane, you're real, you're okay. What you've gone through is real. That I believe you, that other people believe you, because they've gone through the same as well, and that there is hope, and that there's actual healing, freedom, and peace of mind again in your world. So, all right, let's get started today. The link again, sorry about that. The link for the community is above on Facebook, below on YouTube, and if it's on the podcast, just go to www.freetheself.com, click community up in the menu, and you're ready to go. And here we go. So today, episode number 2 of the nature of healing. We're talking about comfort zones, setbacks, and what's really going on in the background. So I'm going to switch over to the graphic I'm using here. As you can see, I have a graphic on the screen that's talking about exploring safety and comfort zones. We have 2 lines that span the graphic, creating a box. And this is where we're going to explore what it looks like, what's really going on when we have setbacks, what it means to heal, what the unknown and the comfort zone, and what our baseline behavior and expectations are that are influencing us in our healing. So let's get started. So click here. So in healing with codependency, we're dealing with a shift in our level of safety. We struggle to feel safe. We struggle to feel like we're okay. I'm pulling on my little graphics tablet here. And we struggle to know what is real. So part of our healing is coming back to safety, back to sobriety, so that we can come back and realize ourselves. And to do that, we've got to get in contact with the unknown. So a lot of times in our healing, we feel like we're making setbacks. We feel like we're failing because we've come back to what we would typically call square one. Or I'm back to where I was before and nothing has changed, things like that. Understanding what's going on in the background is essential so that you can actually navigate this in a way that works for you. And so what's really going on here is we have a contest between safety and the unknown, safety and danger. And when it comes to trauma, when it comes to complex PTSD specifically, our comfort zones are largely defined by what is known. I'm going to switch this back to the other screen for a second. Our safety is found in what we know, what we understand, what we feel that we can comprehend or deal with. Okay, so that's determined by our capacity. It's determined by our experience and what we've been going through. So the comfort zone technically isn't necessarily safe, but it feels safe. And the paradox here is that when we start to enter the unknown, we enter a real question of, am I safe with the unknown? And if we're moving towards safety, we're moving towards healing, towards more healthy things, that unknown will feel unsafe, but in practicality, it is actually safer than the comfort zone because we're moving towards things that actually nurture us. That's the paradox there in our healing. So I'm going to switch this back to the stylus view so we can draw this out. So let's see, let me get the graphic here. Blink. Okay, so we're going to draw this blue line. This blue line right here is the separation between the unknown and the comfort zone. Okay. So down here in the comfort zone, we're exploring what we know, what we're familiar with, what we know how to handle, what we know how to predict. That feels safe because it gives us a sense of power and control and influence in the environment. Now, in abusive or toxic or neglectful relationships, this is actually very unsafe for us because it's continuing to harm our well-being and trap us in that cycle. So in our efforts to escape or heal and get into healthier things, we have to start a journey. And that journey is our healing work. It starts to happen when we start to heal, we start to do this work, as we start to approach this blue line. This blue line is what I call the horizon of the comfort zone. And when we approach that horizon, our anxiety goes up. Okay? Our anxiety goes up because we're entering the unknown. And our brain's like, I don't know what's there. This is scarier than what I know. Then as we continue to heal and explore who we are beyond our trauma and our codependency, we enter the unknown. This is where we're actually starting to see progress. We're making changes. We're feeling different than we usually do. We're having different results start to emerge. We're starting to see different points of view, consider different information. That kind of stuff is showing up. This reaches a maximum tolerance. Okay, I'm going to draw the tolerance here. So we cross out of this. The anxiety gets really intense and we reach a tolerance. That's our maximum capacity for dealing with the unknown. So what happens is our nervous system, our brain, brings us back down into the comfort zone. Okay? And this drop feels like we're failing. It feels like we're not getting it. It feels like we've come back to square one. We're having a setback. But in reality, our nervous system is saying, let's get back to what we know so that we can come back up here and explore a little more. So what this tends to do is it tends to move that horizon, that comfort zone horizon, up a little bit. So what becomes known expands. So we become just a little safer in the unknown space because now we know a little more about it. And this allows us to go just a little farther out of the comfort zone, and then we come back down again, but not all the way down, because now we're starting to gain a new baseline of comfort. So I'm going to draw this brown line here, and that's going to show us how our current baseline starts to drift upward, because we're getting more and more comfortable with the newness. And then as we dip down, we're going to come back up. We're going to try some more, and we'll go up higher. Then we'll come back down, and we'll go back up again. This is the progression of growth and healing. Remember from yesterday's episode, a lot of people look at healing as a straight line, going from state A to state B in something. What in reality, down here, we're down in state A right here. We're playing with state B. We return to state A, come back to state B, Marshall, and then we're a little less in A, a little more in B, a little less in A. We are changing our baseline. We're changing our tolerance to the unknown. We're discovering more about what's real for us. This is why setbacks aren't setbacks at all, my friends. I'm going to switch this back over to the main view because we're done with the stylus thingy. So come here. Setbacks aren't setbacks. Setbacks are tolerance points for the unknown. And it's just the nervous system, your body going, okay, we're a little unsafe. We need to deal with this right now and be okay here. But I need to come back to what I know so I can reassess, discover what I've learned, and then go back out into the adventure, try some more things, and come back. Go back out into the adventure, try some more things, and come back. Children do this all the time. You did it as a child. You do it as an adult. We all do. Because we're checking the unknown, coming back to what's known, to what feels safe, moving back into that discovery, back into what's safety. And this is how we're regulating this experience of change that we're dealing with. And we're dealing with trauma. We're dealing with things that have been harmful to us. The unknown is extremely scary because there might be more of that. We don't know. And so we're going into this with a lot of energy being consumed by managing our anxiety, the unknown, the uncertainty that's emerging in us. And so it's no wonder we want to come back to the comfort zone, rest a bit, and then move back out into it. This is all very normal. So in reality, if we're willing to acknowledge the progress we're making, whether it's big or small, because it doesn't matter, it's progress is progress. If we're willing to recognize what we're discovering and learning in that, we are succeeding. So there's really no going back to square one. There's going back to revisiting that original event and then looking at it just a little differently this time to understand it and move beyond it just a little farther. So my friends, if you find yourself stuck in a cycle of going back to square one, consider what you might not be acknowledging in your journey about what you're discovering, about what you're understanding, and coming to realize what kind of changes you're beginning to experience in how you feel and how you interpret the event. Now, sometimes there's a legitimate, like, I'm not making any progress kind of thing. If that's going on, we want to sit back and analyze really what's going on. Do I have the proper tools, the proper training? Do I feel safe enough to change? Am I in an environment that will allow me to do that? That kind of thing. Because to change, we need safety. Because safety gives us the capacity to move into the unknown and come back to safety, move into the unknown, come back to safety. That's why my primary healing course, the Heal Yourself Strategy, spends over 6 weeks building safety. In fact, the entire course is 22 weeks long. It is all about safety. So we're constantly reinforcing our safety in that course because it's essential to our growth and well-being. And my future courses do the same. The Know Yourself Strategy, Relationship Essentials, and so on, all build on amplifying our safety so that we can continue to make those changes that matter to us. We can connect with our potential and translate that into an actual experience and reality for ourselves. So, my friends, if you're discouraged, look at the cycle, understand what's going on for you, and then praise and appreciate the progress you're making, the discoveries you're making, because it's enough. It'll get you down the road. Keep with it. So, thank you for showing up for today's training, my friends. Remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. And I will see you guys in our next training video where we continue to explore the nature of healing. See you later.